Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 274, recorded on Friday, October 27th, 2023. Getting clicky with it. From Zenatta Consulting, I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
By that show title, you should surmise that we have a lot of Cliq news going on.
That we do.
And so that's what's happening there. So there'll be some Cliq news coming up. So stay tuned for the show. We buried the lead there, so it's going to be a good one. So if you're a Cliq fan, there's a lot for you. Then thank you. Kind of borrowed a little Will Smith title there. He's going through a lot. He'll get some royalties from that. Should help him out.
So there you go. Showing our support. I'm sure it'll mean a lot.
Support for Will. We got you, Will. All right. With that, let's just jump right on into the show. All right. Some announcements and events for everybody here. If you do not know, which means you have never watched this show before, you've never seen Azaz, you've never seen any of our videos, otherwise you know this. But I'm assuming you're the first time here. Raise your hands. First time? Okay, great. I'll go through this again. We got a thing called Club Zenatta. It's our online social gathering community. Of course, it's online. Actually, we have a clubhouse too. You can go over there, but not a lot of people show up. The plane fares and everything else. It kind of died right after COVID, but it was great. So because of that, we've got this online community. And you can, we do things here. People ask questions about Azaz or about Zoho. We answer them. You have something you'd like for us to answer, you put it in Q&A for Azaz. We also keep track of all of the events in the world of Zoho, not just ours, but also Zoho's. And for us, we'll get today's CRM Zen Show, of course. And then coming up in November, our CRM and Azaz. And we are going to be doing Zoho Mail, Tyler, full product tutorial for Zoho Mail, which is, as we know, a biggie in the world of the Zoho things there. So we got Zoho Mail coming up. And in December, what are we doing? I guess we don't know yet. Oh, you know what?
Probably going to be Zoho Voice.
In December, it's the Zen Me's, right?
The Zen Me's coming up.
The Zen Me. So the special CRM Zen Show on the 29th of December will be the Zen Me's. That's our annual award show where we give awards to Zoho products and Zoho plugins, and we cover everything in the world of Zoho as it relates to the Zen Me's. Do I have a Zen Me around here? I don't. I used to have it on my desk. I don't have a Zen Me anymore. Anyway, Zen Me's are coming up. And we're looking forward to that. And then, of course, we'll roll into January. And even though the webinar is not on here, what we've got happening in January is we always do our annual Zoho One full product tutorial review where we talk about everything that's happening in the world of Zoho. And I don't know if we need to do that again. We have to look and see how much has changed since last year, Tyler, and decide.
Yeah, there's been like a couple apps that have been added, maybe a couple that have moved up or down in our categories. But we'll have to see how we want to
just do a little supplement that, we'll call it the 2024 supplement, and it's like
an addendum.
But the little addendum. That's right. And also, we also keep track of everything that's going on in Zoho's world. So coming up here in November, Zoholics Hong Kong is on November 2nd. November 7th, there'll be a webinar, which is Zoho overview of Zoho people. Zoho's really been kicking it up. Zoholics Nigeria is coming up. So some really, really good stuff there. And that reminds me, I want to talk a little bit on upcoming events. So in the United States, in June, you've got the Zoholics coming up. We talked about it on the last show. And they reached out to me and they wanted to let me know that there's a special, they've actually negotiated hotel rates with all of the hotels. And so everybody, if you now go to the page, there's a link there that wasn't there before. You can click on it and it takes you to all the special hotel rates. Good prices. They're all very reasonable prices. So they've done a great job negotiating hotels. So you got a bunch of great stuff there. So if you were thinking about going, and I was talking about how expensive all the hotels were, well, they got some great deals that they've cut. So you can go there and look at that as well. And you can also now sign up. They've got early bird pricing, and it should be fantastic. So I'm actually, Tyler, we're having a call next week with the Zoholics team. And so we'll see how that goes. But looking forward to that event. And so anyway, at least the pricing has gone down. So there you go. Anyway, Zoholics marches on, and there are all of the events. And like I said, if you haven't, please join Club.Zenatta.com. Great online community if you're into Zoho. Well over 1,000 members, growing rapidly. All we ask is your email address. No, it's free, so you might as well go ahead and join. And with that, Tyler, let's get right on into our news. All right, Tyler. So some analytics updates here, as this is your special talent, as it were, that and watering bamboo. Why don't you kind of take us through what we got going on here?
A couple new chart types. Tree maps, these are really commonly used. It's kind of a nice way to do like multivariate analysis. So if you have like a category and a subcategory, right, you kind of want to create these groupings and subgroupings underneath them. Little adjustments in terms of chart styling. So they're doing some new default color palettes, some new line markers, like little tweaks, right? Nothing too crazy. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see a couple of the adjustments that they've made. Really just look and feel stuff on a couple of common charts. Now, this is the last one here. When you're looking at like a single variate chart, so like a very simple chart view, it's defaulting to a pie chart. I won't get on my soapbox now, but I am not a lover of pie charts in almost any use case. So now they're essentially giving you the option to choose a different default for a single metric type of report. So you can phase out all those pie charts, swap them over to something a little better. And then as always, Zoho's always working on new connectors. So they're now supporting IBM Informix. I've never had to touch that myself, but now you can sync it directly to analytics. And then this kind of a big one in the long term. Right now, Zia is available inside of analytics where you can ask it questions, ask it for context, things like that. But as we've found, Brett, and it's the same in like CRM, it's very particular about what you say and exactly how you ask it, right?
Yep.
And so what they've done in analytics is they've created a tool for you to create synonyms for things. So for example, maybe you want to say a synonym for a cold call, which could be like a status or a source of a lead, would be like cold outreach, right? Or, outbound prospecting, right? Now, I don't know if that's a perfect synonym for you, but what that allows, a business leader to do is kind of ask it questions in their own language, and it can make some inferences about like what specifically they're referring to. It's pretty nice. I mean, it's a good feature that if you set up appropriately will actually help people use Ask Zia much more effectively.
I love that. I wish that Alexa would do that, because I think that would be, I can start talking to me, and that'd be very helpful. I mean, it's things like, hey, turn on the jacuzzi, and go, you don't have a jacuzzi. Oh, well, turn on the spa. Oh yeah, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Or, set the heater to 65. Oh, we don't have a heater. Oh, the thermostat. Oh, okay. I mean, I think it would be great. I mean, this for all things that you talk to or type. I mean, they should do this. I think it's brilliant. Do you have to set them up, you think, though? You have to create your own
set them up. You have to kind of create synonyms for certain types of like parameters that you care about, right?
Yeah.
So like something like lead source is a really common one, right? Because it's just such a standard thing that there's so many different ways to refer to a cold call, web research or organic, right? Same thing. And then I guess this is kind of already out, but maybe this is fully released, and earlier it was in beta. But they have fully released now the ChatGPT to Zoho Analytics integration, which essentially allows you to ask questions about the data that you might be looking at.
What's ChatGPT? I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's some new tool. Not a lot of adoption.
I think, but flash in the pan. It's not going anywhere.
A couple other things here, some notifications within the Dashboards app. This is a specific mobile app for looking at dashboards. You can also look at dashboards in the Analytics app. I don't know why there's two. But you can now set up some additional little notifications inside of there so you can see when a CRM sync occurred, right? Things like that. Last but not least, new API version 2.0 coming out. That's been out for a long time. I'm not really sure. Maybe they've added new endpoints to it, but the 2.0 API has been released for a while for Zoho Analytics. But nonetheless, why not?
Yeah, fantastic. Great job, analytics team. And moving on. We rarely talk about this, Tyler, but in Zoho CRM, there's a portal. And we always talk about Z portals because that's kind of, if you want a down and dirty portal, it's not just going to connect to CRM, but a million other things. Starting at, I think, $49 a month, you can have a portal. And it's a WordPress plugin, and it's beautiful, and it just works. But there is a native portal inside of the CRM, and they've been making a lot of changes to it recently. I still think we recommend Z portals across the board for most cases, but I would think that there are some people where maybe the basic portal is gonna get it done because they've been adding more and more features to it. And if that's the case, you now actually have a sign-up form, where before you had to go into the contact, or you had to go into the lead, and you had to, I don't know why you do it in the lead, you had to go into the contact, and you had to basically give them access to the portal. And they would send them an invitation, and they could go in from there. Now you can have a sign-up form. So people can sign up, and, clearly there's a lot that's got to go into that for people signing up. But my guess is this would be something maybe where instead of just adding to the portal and sending, you'd basically be sending them an email saying, hey, sign up for our portal, because they're going to need to be in there, right? I mean,
yeah, they're going to need to be a contact. Then get added. And this kind of follows on recently in the CRM API 4.0, they added an endpoint to programmatically add users to portal. You used to have to do it manually every time. So this form is probably just the next step in that. Now that they have an automated location where they can do it, now these forms can start triggering it and submitting them through.
Yeah, they've got some interesting, the waiting for portal access view is at 100 customers. There's some, there's a 10,000 license portal as you get 10,000 licenses for free. Is that correct? Wow.
I don't know about that. That doesn't sound quite right.
I don't know. Okay, for the trial edition, you can hold up 10 users, and we'll have to look at portal access. They've changed that.
Waiting for portal. Yes, these are like the pending confirmation users.
Pending confirmations.
So if you hadn't approved them fast enough, they would disappear, it sounds like.
I seem to remember portal users being free, but it's hard to say. We'll need to take a look. But anyway, big changes to the portals. So if
better over time. It's gotten a lot better over time. The CRM portal, much more functional than it used to be.
I haven't really played around with them in any depth in probably 3-4 years, but it might be worth revisiting them for some basic stuff there. So
yeah, I know Jordan, our director of consulting, was working with a client who needed a relatively simple portal build. Log in, see some data, see an image or two, right? Something like that. And basically on the call together in like 30 minutes, they put together 75% of the portal just on the back end. And it's a lot more flexible than it used to be. So it's well worth considering. I don't think it's a place anymore where you have to use Z-portals for every use case. Like if you just need to provide a portal for CRM data, you could probably get away with just using this. So yeah, kudos to the team. Big update since last time I had actually looked at the back end of it. It's much more robust.
Fantastic. And moving on, we're a whole series of Cliq stories here, consequently getting Cliqqy with it. Cliq 5.0 has these dot releases crack me up. Anyway, a lot of things going on with Cliq. So you've got a lot of advancements in the admin panel. One of them is e-discovery and data retention. Tyler, we talked about this. This kind of a roundup, this article here, but we talked about this a few weeks ago. And I did check this out, and sure enough, Tyler, this is full-blown data retention. So you can go in and look at conversations. So this is one of those things where you actually look at private conversations. You can look at anything. So if you set this up, just understand that maybe you want to let your organization, I don't know if a little warning comes up to the organization saying, hey, keep it clean. Because if they want to, you can go ahead and look at it in the back. Audit trails are now there. They've really improved overall usage reports, which I think this is really, really cool. What you're doing in usage reports there. And, you can manage your organization's configurations all in the back end. The nice thing about this is you can now set up a whole bunch of stuff organization-wide on the back end in Cliq. And so just making life really, really, really easy, managing all your channels, just much better than it was before, and kind of gives you some consistency across the board as it relates to that. But that's not all. We've got Cliq. Cliq now has got a pricing update. So they are now having 4 different plans: free, standard, professional, and enterprise. But fear not, all you bundle users such as Zoho One, guess what? You get the enterprise edition in Zoho One, and you get the standard and professional plans are integrated with the standard and professional plans in the workspace bundle, respectively. Additionally, the Cliq standard plan is also part of the People Plus bundle. Does the CRM Plus not have Cliq in it?
It kind of does. Like, it has the like chat bar in it. It's kind of like CRM Plus doesn't have a notebook, but it kind of does because you can use it through the CRM pop-up. But I think officially CRM Plus does not include Cliq.
Well, for the price of it, I think they should throw it in. Because with CRM Plus, you get the ultimate edition of CRM, which is interesting. But anyway, and on the pricing on this, really, really, really inexpensive. I mean, the free version $0. You're looking at the standard version is $16, and I'll put this kind of on a monthly basis, $18 a month for 25 users, right? If you're going
to flat rate, you have 3 users, you're paying 18 a month. You have 25 users, you're paying 18 a month.
18 a month, right? And then if you want the professional version, it is $2 per user per month. So that would be $50 a month for your, if you had 25 users there. But you're getting a whole lot more going on there. And then on the enterprise version, it is $4 per user per month, and if you pay that annually, $360. So it kind of goes down. But quite the bargain if you're a Zoho One user, huh?
Absolutely.
So quite the bargain. So that's the new Cliq pricing. But are we done with Cliq? No, we're not. We've got more. So now you have a more intelligent Cliq because we're using some AI. So you can now get transcripts, summaries, and action items on your meetings inside of Cliq. So if you're doing a direct call or meetings, you can do all those things, and it's going to give you the transcripts, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
you
very
have to turn
cool.
this on, you think?
Probably. Yeah, probably have to activate it somewhere on the back end, but we'll probably doing a test on this once it hits our account.
I love this task suggestions. I mean, this is the real power of some of the AI stuff. A lot of this has been around for a little bit, but it's I think as AI gets better and better, these assistants get better and better. They're also dropping in the writing assistant, which I'm pretty positive this is just 100% ChatGPT connection that's gonna go ahead and help you with it, or maybe it's just their spell checker.
Yeah, it could be Blue Pencil. It looks like Blue Pencil, if I remember correctly. We were playing around with that, which is like their grammar and spell checker, which use with caution. But yeah, very nice to see that in here. I like when it kind of tells you your tone a little too. You type a quick Cliq message, it's like, hey, you sound a little aggressive here.
Yep, and now they have a conversation summary. So if someone wrote a rather long conversation, this is gonna
looks AI generated.
Yep. And so that is AI in Cliq, and you say, wow, that's a lot of Cliq news there, Brett. Now, what are we moving on to now? We're going to talk about Cliq some more. So Tyler, they've enhanced the developer platform in Cliq. So what do we got going on here?
Yeah, so we got a handful of different updates that are going to be applicable for like the developer side of the house. So first of which, as we scroll down the page, they're updating the way that cards can look inside of Cliq. So these are like messages sent via a bot or some type of API. You can now include images and more like widget-like functionality as you are kind of submitting a card through a particular chat, which is really nice. A couple other kind of back-end updates as well. So when you're looking at links inside of Cliq, links supported via extensions. So this won't work for all links, but it will work for links that are driven by an extension plugin like Google Drive, Trello, where they can kind of unfurl and show some additional buttons and options within them, right? So like we don't use Trello, but if you submitted something about a Trello card, that maybe unfurls and you can move the status, mark it
that
complete.
Is slick. I like that a lot. That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really slick. And this all kind of is driven via the bot functionality that different plugins and extensions use. Hopefully all these get added to their like card builder tool. So they're easy to configure
Yeah.
on the back end.
Yeah. The unfurling
User
part is really
experience
cool.
things around link handling. A couple updates to bots, kind of poking people a little bit more to subscribe to them. So rather than just kind of deploying a bot, messaging in the all chat and saying, hey, everyone, subscribe to this, it can now follow up on your behalf and check in with users who probably should be subscribed to it. Just kind of a useful tool. If you're going to build something, people might as well use it.
Yeah.
A couple updates on the back end, more on a technical side, just to how webhooks are going to be captured and sent in and out of Cliq. So again, most people are never going to touch that, but the ones who do are going to be very happy that webhooks work a little bit better. Then a UI experience update. Again, this is developers only. This is in the publishing process of an extension. It kind of smoothed out that process for deploying and updating them, kind of the back-end UI. Last but not least, a couple updates. So new database fields, encrypted text and large text, meaning assuming like more of a description field. An attachment button, which you can now use as you're like interacting with a card or with a particular icon. A couple more little things around icon management for
A lot here.
for Cliq updates. And then last but not least, coming soon, just a boatload of new updates. So ChatGPT, Drive, Trello, just lots of these are going to be getting new and improved integrations for Cliq that are going to use those tools, right? So if you're using any of those integrations, look forward to it because they should be getting much more useful here shortly.
Yeah. And by the way, this is sent with love from the Cliq team with a little blue heart. So nice job, Cliq team. Busy week. We kind of went Cliq crazy this week. Busy week in the world of Cliq. Nobody was resting on their laurels over on the Cliq team. So
not at all.
All right. Moving on. You now have dynamic display in Bigin iOS. So you're on your Bigin mobile app and you're looking at it and you'd really like to customize the way your list views look. Well, now you can. And you've been able to do this on the CRM for a while. So if you're watching this on YouTube, it's very easy to do. I have to say, this is a much nicer interface than what they have on the mobile CRM app, right? For customizing what your list views look like.
Man, that mobile CRM app is brutal.
Yeah, just very painful. You can do this on the CRM mobile app. It's just not nearly as pretty as this. I mean, this is just really super nice. So if you're a Bigin user, go for it. Because it just is, I can't imagine without this, it would have been horrible. So I'm glad this is there. But I haven't really used Bigin on mobile. So, but the ability to configure these list views is huge. So good job. And I guess it's already been like this on the Android version for a while. One of the rare instances where something comes out on iOS after it came out on Android. It's almost
very rare for Zoho.
Very, very rare. All right, and moving on to wrap up the news, let's talk about Zoho Sheet 2024. Now, is that the name of it, Zoho Sheet 2024? Because you've got, it's not 3.0, 4.0, 5.0? It's the year now. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, for Zoho Sheet 2024, a whole bunch of changes are coming down the line. And so basically this article sums these things up. I will say that for every single thing so basically the big changes are data connection, merge templates, OpenAI integration, predefined tables, edit history, custom fonts, themes, and data bars, and revamped Android and iPad apps. There are separate articles on every single one of these. And if you subscribe to our newsletter, guess what? We've got the links to all those articles so you can kind of go through and look at all of them. But bottom line here, Tyler, I don't think we need to go through all these. Zoho Sheet is continuing to get more and more improvements and a whole bunch of things that you normally just don't see in a lot of spreadsheets. And they're just adding a lot of stuff to it. And so I basically listed off all the things they're doing. And I think that talking about them or even showing them, unless you're in webinar format, this doesn't really make any sense here. So anything here you wanted to point out that was just really cool?
I mean, data connections is pretty slick. Just being able to connect a sheet to like a live data set somewhere else is always nice. I mean, sometimes there are just those things that are so much easier to do in a spreadsheet than in an analytics tool, right? So just
Yep.
being able to pull some of that stuff in and work it up is always nice to have. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I would say, guys, check out the newsletter. All of these have full detailed articles about the nitty gritty on them. If we go through
Yep.
all of them, you will all click off the video because you'll be bored to tears with Sheets news. So definitely check out the newsletter and, the rest of these stories if you are a Sheets user.
And that's going to wrap up the news. So with that, let's head on over to our implementation of the week.
Alrighty, so this is an implementation built out by Jordan Poole, our Director of Consulting and Senior Consultant. This is for, and this kind of a wordy title. I tried to make this as simple as I could, but franchisee-specific inquiry follow-up via Zoho CRM and analytics. So essentially what the goal here is that, we are working, our client in this case is a franchisor, right, who sells franchises to franchisees. And so in this case, the franchisor, our direct client, receives inbound requests for services, quotes, things like that. And they want to essentially send them over to the appropriate franchisee who controls that, geographical region. But they want to make sure that the franchisees are appropriately following up with them, taking a next step, validating if they're a good fit, right? Just to make sure we're not sending leads out into the void, right? Without any follow-up procedures in place. So when one of those inquiries comes into the franchisor CRM, it gets connected to a particular franchisee. For each of those inquiries, a unique form URL is generated that can be used by the franchisee to qualify and process that inquiry. And it's not a crazy form. It's kind of just validating that, hey, we chased them down, we had a conversation, they were or were not a good fit for these services. Really just an accountability tool to make sure, again, that we're not just sending good leads into the void to never be followed up with. Now, once that form gets filled out, the franchisor CRM is notified, so the inquiry is then considered processed. And on a monthly basis, an automated email gets sent out to each of the franchisees with a custom table that contains all the inquiries as well as the form URLs for those, so that the franchisee can go through, click through each of the forms, notate what they did with that particular lead, and send it back to the mothership, right? The franchisor CRM. So at the end of the day, from a technical perspective, not like a crazy build, right?
Yep.
It's kind of like a custom module, routing some data, generating a form that gets a record ID, right? The classic, so that we can tie it back to that original CRM module entry. And then just that automated email via HTML. We're really just finding a lot of use cases for that. The idea of on the first of a month, run a scheduled function that gets data, wraps it up in HTML and sends it out. It's just so much better than sending the franchisee 10 individual emails on the first of the month, right? Hey, do this one. Hey, do this one, right? Just, hey, here's all the inquiries last month that you need to go through and qualify for us so that we know what we're sending your way and that we know that you're chasing it down.
Well, Jordan did all this himself.
I believe so, yeah. Primarily Jordan on the build.
Fantastic. Very, very nice. Cool stuff. All right. Well, with that, let's head right on back over to Club Zenatta and look at our code share of the week. All right, so Tyler, I know you can create custom buttons in CRM, and when you click on that custom button and the function runs and it does whatever it runs, it can give you a message which says, for example, if I'm generating a proposal, I click on it, it says proposal attached, and you close out the message, and there it is. The proposal's now attached inside the deal record. This is the message you get back if you created a button in Zoho Finance. Does it treat things differently in Zoho Finance?
A little bit. I mean, you could definitely use this same approach to create a custom button response in CRM as well. There's little differences in naming conventions and things like that as you're creating that response factor. But really, like what the trick here and what you can apply to really any custom button is that he's essentially checking for error messages in each response. So like it does a thing, we check an error. It does another thing, we check an error. And if at any point it identifies an error, it responds with that error message as the response. Like steps 2 and 3 of this are to make it like non-developer readable, right? So like looking at the error and then reframing it, right? Because like if you return an error response to me, I'm like, great, that's exactly what I want. Copy paste, put it in pretty JSON, and then I can bug test it. What a normal user wants is more like the function didn't proceed because the amount field is empty, right? Like something a little bit more informed. But so this is step 1, and then step 2 would really just be kind of digging in a little further and creating some logic around making the response more user-friendly. But yeah, this is kind of a tool we use all the time just to determine an error response or a success response when a button is pressed.
So this gives you failure code 42, right? Which of course is useless.
Yeah, or it would be like sometimes the Zoho error response will give you what you need. Like tried to convert this field to date, but it was empty, and you could infer that that you need to go fill in that field. But yeah, it is a good habit to make them even more user friendly once you deploy them to the wild.
Very cool. All right, well, with that, let's head back on over to Zenatta.com and look at our read of the week. Oh, we're being so clever as we come up on Halloween here. 13 email marketing tricks or treats for Zoho.
Great job, Fred.
Very nice.
The spooky sounds queued up.
Very, very nice. All righty. So anyway, we've got several things here. Basically, they put together how you test and preview, set up roles and privileges, batch larger segments, customizing your header and your footer, brand settings, configuring your topics, utilizing workflows, choose the right sender, maintaining your email list, segmenting your audience, frequency and time, onboarding communication, and holiday templates. What more could you ask for? So we've basically got them all coming up here. So, very, very cool and worth taking a look at if you are a Zoho Campaigns user. By the way, Tyler, any updates on the final, what's going on with marketing automation? I can't believe we're coming up on the end of the year. That's still not released, is it?
I haven't heard much. You hear like murmurs here and there. I don't know exactly what we can and cannot say from what we see from various sources, right? When we're talking about like some of the partner channels. I know at Zoholics, Wayne reported in, so this is public info, is the EU Zoholics, that they were kind of shopping it around, doing some demos. Like, I think people were generally positively receiving it when they had a chance to play with it. But I don't think there's been any big public declaration, like December 15th, it's coming, it's going to be available. I don't think there's a date at this time still. So I didn't, at this point, it's still stick with campaigns, right?
Yeah, I think
it'll migrate over.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to stick with. I actually had a sales call with a client yesterday, a potential client yesterday, who went with marketing automation, and they're calling us to say, "Can you please switch us to campaigns?" Because it's just
had a very similar call earlier this week. Actually, yeah, it was they did marketing automation, and now they want to roll back and just go back to campaigns.
Like none of it works, it breaks. You're saying here, and I'm like, okay, so that's not good news. If you're unfamiliar. Marketing automation campaigns are very similar. Marketing automation has quite a few more different features in there. But, from your basic MailChimp constant contact stuff, campaigns kind of gets all that done. It does your journeys. It can move people around. Marketing automation is one of them should just replace the other. But the problem is this is product. My goodness gracious. We're coming up on 5 years, right? Yeah. This was released in 2019.
And from day one, from the day one release of marketing automation, it's never really made sense, like why they're the two products and how they're different and why stuff works in one but is broken in the other. It's the good news is campaigns has gotten better and better, better and better deliverability, more stable, more consistent. So you're looking good there. And hopefully, right, when 2.0 rolls out for automation, it'll be great. And we'll be able to move everyone over and live happily ever after. But for now,
for your marketing automations needs, use campaigns. So that'll work better. So anyway, here's some good tips and tricks for you there.
well, and it's a shame because we're working on, Wayne's been working on the marketing course. For those who don't know, we've got training courses for CRM, projects, desk coming soon. And marketing was going to be the last one. And he really wants to wait and do it all in marketing automation because he wants to cover sales IQ and page sense and campaigns. And all of those are supposed to kind of roll in. So he's kind of like biding his time. He wants to really get started on recording it. But we want to make sure it's not obsolete, the minute that we put it out. So yeah, we're all waiting with bated breath for the full release of 2.0.
Yeah, well, let's hope soon. Anyway, so let's move from 13 email marketing tricks or treats to our tip of the week over on YouTube. So our only director of finance, Don Oda, is basically going to step you through setting up bank feeds in Plaid and Yodlee, and going to take you through that whole process. So that was a big thing. Was that this year, Tyler? We went through that where
I think so.
Yodlee broke?
I think so.
Or Zoho broke, actually. Zoho broke from an authentication basis. And so because of that, they added in Plaid, which is really cool. So you now have your choice when you're setting up your bank feeds to choose whether or not you're going to connect them through either Plaid or Yodlee or a token. So you kind of get all three of those different things you can do as you're connecting your bank feeds, which is super, super nice. I find that they both work great now. The big issue back then was that there was a change that was kind of coming for a couple of years, and Zoho waited a little too long and kind of messed things up so some banks just broke, like the big banks mostly, like Chase and some
almost all banks broke in Yodlee, which was the only option back then. Now they have both, right, which is nice.
Right. But it wasn't Yodlee's fault. It was
no. They had announced the change a long time, years in advance.
So because of that mistake, in a good way, Zoho Books just got better. Right. Yeah. So you ended up with Plaid.
They wanted to solve it once and for all is the impression I get. Because now they support Plaid, they support Yodlee, they even support independent token. So it's like if you have your own that you're using that they haven't pre-built, you can just put the token in and do that, that's awesome, right? Like the more choices, the better, because it just means more banks can be supported natively. Which, as we know, when the bank is not supported and you have to do it yourself, like we did when it was broken, is a huge amount of work. We're not even really a high volume business that gets, dozens and dozens of ACHs a day. But manually reconciling all of that for months was painful, even for us. So, important that Zoho puts this to bed permanently.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And by the way, we don't do a great job on this, by the way, John. John kind of really steps you through this entire process here. But if you're watching us on YouTube and you're watching this little intro here, we found some really new cool technology that can focus your eyes. So if you're doing a video and you're looking at the camera, maybe you got to look off to the side just for a moment to read or something like that. It basically can just make sure that your eyes are staying center while you're doing it. So you're not looking off to the side, you're not looking over here, you're not reading. It's just keeping your eyes totally center. It was really cheap. It was like $50 a year or something like that. Maybe we should bring back our applications a week, because we've actually been discovering some really cool stuff, Tyler.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, some really, really, really cool stuff. What's that application called, Freddie?
It's captions.ai.
Captions.ai. Very, very cool. If you're doing a lot of videos, you just want to clean up an intro like that, because everybody does that. We're just kind of looking over. So it does a super nice job on it. And speaking of videos, if you head on over to our YouTube channel, we would love it if you would subscribe. And because that is where we post all of our stuff. And we are posting stuff almost every day, at least 4 days a week. You've got stuff coming in. So please head on over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Zenatta, and check out all of our cool stuff. All righty. Well, buddy, another show is in the can.
Another week. Yeah. Flies by every week now. Feels like we were just doing this yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you doing the rest of the day? Just water and bamboo? Is that it?
Just watering my bamboo. Yeah, they're giving me a hard time before the show because I had to wait for a second to water my bamboo.
We said, hey, Tyler, you ready to go? And he goes, I got to water my bamboo. And so what does that mean? I don't know. But, inquiring
We're going to
minds
be
want to know.
cold
But
this
turns
weekend.
out-
The cold front
turns
is
out-
rolling in here in Colorado. So it's, and that was a
Is it?
topic change before you get us demonetized. Should be like in the 40s, potentially snowing over the weekend here. So enjoy your California weather while I am cold. for
Well,
the
we
next little
actually
while.
are going to be in the 70s, and with a little occasional, with some clouds rolling through occasionally,
Can't deal with that.
You're the
Block
one
the
who
sun.
moved from San Diego to first Cincinnati
That's
and
true,
now
yeah.
Colorado. It's on you, buddy. Anyway, hey, everybody, want to thank you so much for joining us every single week here for the CRM Zen Show. We love doing it for you. And if you would ever like to talk to Tyler or myself, please head over to Zenatta.com and click on Book a Meeting. We'll be happy to talk to you.
And on the website is where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to every story we discussed today. If you want that news delivered straight to your inbox every single Monday morning, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And last but not least, we always appreciate when you like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.
Take care, everybody.